Scene one, Apple, take one.
What time is it?
You wanna get high?
That's right.
You got me smoking, 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 you got me smoking. It's a motherfucking podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. It's the weekend. We love the weekends around here. We have a very special guest on, Mr. Phil Better, Podcast Mogul himself. Go ahead and take a few minutes to tell these people who you are, how they can find you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am, of course, Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul up in Montreal, Canada, with the smoothest and sexiest voice in podcasting. No, I am Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul. I help entrepreneurs, podcasters, and business owners leverage the use of podcasting to increase their revenue or even just start their revenue, grow podcasting, or use podcasting to grow their revenue and brand. I am currently the host of 6 podcasts that I am creator, co-creator, or executive producer on. Which means I do everything on that podcast, pretty much of those 6. I'm executive producer on about a dozen other podcasts, and that ranges from doing the full editing, audio, all that, to providing support and coaching to the podcasters so that they can grow their podcast. And and I give away free 15 minutes of my time pretty much just by visiting my website, philbetterinc.com. That's PHIL, better, BETTER, Inc.com. And I'd be more than happy to help you start a podcast, monetize your podcast, or tips and tricks on how to grow your podcast.
And when Phil is not podcasting, he is busy saving the world.
Yes.
So.
On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I don't do anything but save the world. Just a busy man. I grew up with a work ethic. My dad was, I don't want to say workaholic, but he worked a lot. Like, he was busy growing. Like, that's what I grew up with. I need to be working. So it's like, okay, how can I help people? Because I love helping people. How can I make money helping people? And how can I help other people make money? So, and it's like, okay, I figured that most of those parts out. Now I'm just like, okay, people, just come talk to me. Like, I know we talked multiple times. We're co-hosts on The Real Boys, an amazing podcast that's currently top 10 in podcast listens worldwide, as well as being the number 1 international or North American podcast.
North American, yeah.
Film podcast with 8 hosts. That goes live every Monday and Friday on the Real Boys YouTube channel. So you want to make sure you check out that. Make sure you subscribe, because we have some doozies. I would recommend my top 2 movie, because what we do is we review our top 5 movies. And I would suggest going to my top 2nd movie, Boondock Saints, and seeing how I got eviscerated live on air, and how I tried to stay my ground, but I failed miserably.
Out of sympathy, I decided to sit that episode out.
Thank you for allowing me to be lambasted by the pure punk rocker on the show, Michael Colby. And I have to say, I love Michael. He is my arch enemy on the show because I'm apparently a capitalist pig. In reality, I'm the most socialist out of all of us because I live in Canada.
Sure.
So it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's quite funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you guys check out The Real Boys every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah. I think we're doing training day this Monday. So
yeah, it's yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. I am currently on my work schedule, so I'm going to try and get that off and see if I can make it to the episode. But if not, it'll be great anyways.
We'll switch it. No, we'll switch it to another. You need to be at your number 1. Like, these are our number 1s.
This is 2.
Oh, it's your 2nd. Okay, yeah. Fuck it, you don't need to be there. Film something and send it to our executive producer. Actually, our director, or one of our directors. We have 2 amazing directors, Dylan Terry and Zach Wiseman, are our directors on that show. So they're awesome.
Got some coming in, Mr. Nick Malai.
Wow, really, Nick? Do you live in Canada? Wait, I think Nick. Don't you live in Canada, Nick? He's
I believe so.
He's an amazing fan. He comments nearly all the time on the Real Boys. I love him. But yeah, I'm just stealing all the time of your show. This is your show. I shouldn't be talking so much.
I love it when my guests talk so much. It makes my job so much easier.
Right?
But yeah, we are here to try to make some money off of so people can get some cash off of their podcast. See, that's why I let other people talk.
They formulate sentences better.
Yes,
so
exactly.
So actually this is great because I want to pimp something that I'm doing with another fellow podcaster, Mike. I can't pronounce his last name because it's an Italian last name. I don't know. And I forgive me, Mike, and I apologize. I have family in Vancouver. I'm really more post-Marxist anyways. Yeah, so you're not a socialist. You're not a Canadian socialist, eh? But yeah, so me and Mike, who has the amazing podcast Average Joe Finance podcast, where you can learn how to properly leverage like real estate and that and make your wealth that way. He's monetized his podcast one way, and I use a different way to monetize my podcasts. But I've tried different, like I have a lot of different ways I monetize my podcast. That's why I have so many podcasts. It's like I'm not going to suggest something to you, DL, if I haven't done it, because I need to figure out the framework, and then I'm like, okay, this is what we do, boom, and just copy this, and I refine it with every client. So we decided, because a few months ago I did a mastermind on monetization, my first one, and he's like, yo, I want to get in on one, and I'm like, cool, what we're gonna do? And he's like, this is how I monetize, and I'm like, I've never done it that way, right? Like gone out with a hardcore, like he's currently in talks with a sponsor. I can't announce who, but he's currently in talks, and so he's dealing with all that like legality, and like a lot of us haven't, because we're not in that, because we don't know what happens with a sponsor, right? So he's doing that, and he's bringing that, so we're going to be doing a mastermind, a Better Than Average podcast mastermind on November 27th, I believe it is. I'll send the link to you and that, but you can go to averagejoefinances.com/webinar, and it will take you to the sequence. And that's something I teach as well as I coach podcasters, and that how do you leverage your knowledge and your fan base to make money. Like the tickets are $30 American, but what you get is 2 distinctly different ways to monetize your podcast that you can implement like right now. And I've made, just using my podcast, one of them has made me $6,000 so far this year. And I got some sponsor. It's cheddar, like
it's money.
That's just my podcast, like bringing me money, not talking about my other podcasts and my other funnels that I have. So it's like I will show proof, and like I'll sign into my Stripe account and go, look, see, money.
Look, I did it.
I did it, so it's like, and that's why people hire me. Like I am not cheap, and I choose my clients specifically. Like if I'm going to be the co-creator and all that, I have to work with you, and I have to make sure that I gel with you. So I'm very specific in who I work with, and I'm picky as well. But yeah, that's what we're doing, and I love helping people monetize. Like I've helped you, I've helped a couple of our other boys as well. And I'm trying to help Michael, because it's about goddamn time that he makes some money off his work, because Jack Billing Presents is such a phenomenal show, and he deserves to be paid for it.
I have listened to a few episodes of it, and it is a great show. Very entertaining.
Yeah, it's
different but entertaining.
Yeah, it's like, because we're so inundated with news. Like I call these like talk show podcasts, where it's basically interviews, or you have like film review podcasts like the Real Boys podcast, or the Feel Better Show, just self-plug there, or you have teaching podcasts, and so having something that's just pure entertainment based and like scripted and well done is so unusual, and it's such a unique niche to be in. Like Jack Billing Presents like dominates that niche of being the like probably the number one like podcast drama you know, because there's so much love in it and the way the world has been created. And like Zach said, he at first he didn't realize that it was like a scripted podcast. Like he thought this was like something real, and then he figured out like in like a couple of the other episodes, it's an amazing show and he deserves. And I'm trying to, and he's like, but I don't want any corporate overlords. And I'm like, dude, you just need to be a little bit less punk rock for me, and we can make you some money. But yeah, I love helping people make money, because the more you make money, the more I make money. A fourth of my internet time is spent trying to get Michael Colby to agree with me. Dude, I'm surprised.
Completely understand that one.
Yeah. He hates on a lot. Even on his own movies, he hates on them. And it's like, dude, these are your movies.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was when I started podcasting, like I didn't know that most people did it to promote a business that they already have going.
So I
just thought it was something that was like, I'm just going to start a podcast and be entertaining. That's what I did. But
so here's the thing with podcasting, because I've been in it 6 years, so I've seen two waves. So I started podcasting just before Serial became huge, before it jumped off and just recently, so I've seen a bit of what like two waves going in. So I started before people, like, you had to know how to do an RS feed. You had to go to Apple and submit. Now you got auto submit, right? I never suggest doing auto submit. You should always control access on Apple, on Spotify, on Google and Amazon. Forget about all the other smaller ones. And people are like, oh, you need to be on this podcast catcher. No, don't worry about it, because everyday people, like, you know, your mom, your dad, your sister, they're not as deep as we are as podcasters into this world. They only know Apple, Spotify, Google, and Amazon. Why would you try and say, yeah, go to, you know, www.podcast123.com to get this app? Why do I need another app on my phone? You have to remember, you want to make it so simple for people to find your podcast. But so you want to have control there, because they give you access to the stats, so you can literally see how your podcast is growing, how much of the podcast is being consumed, where's the drop-off points. And these analytics are like, we have shit analytics, unfortunately, in podcasting. Spotify probably has the best, because it doesn't matter what size you are getting data from them. Well, whereas Apple is like, well, you need 1 billion downloads before we let you even see anything behind the curtain.
Apple's like the stuck-up stepmom that nobody likes.
Yeah, it's a Stepford wife. It's like, and we have to deal with them because they have such a huge market share, right? But Spotify, I love what Spotify is doing with their stats and that. And Google is Google. Like, Google is just like, okay, let us see what stats really work. And then they're going to give you soon they're going to bring in your YouTube stats inside it. And then again, they take over the world. They're just right now so early into it. They don't know what stats are important. So they're just like, here are some information. We're going to give you this information. You let us know what you need. And they just hired this amazing guy to be the head of the podcasting division. So it's like it's only a matter of time before we get YouTube, like you've seen your YouTube analytics, like how detailed you get. Just imagine having that access for your podcast. Like it's like, oh my God. And Google can say, okay, we're now going to help you monetize your podcast, just as we have with YouTube. And now you can get them, and they're now an ad broker for you. Boom. Your podcast is now monetized on Google. Like, they just can say, hey, you can now have ads, but you have to be an exclusive with Google. They're all crypto fastest. Give me Web3.
Give me Web3.
Yeah, Web3 is, but here's the thing. Since you're so advanced with like we're still in Web 2, people are just adopting Web 2. They don't understand. You cannot get us to Web 3 for another 10 years. Like, Web 3 it's going to be about 10 years before it's taken over by the whole masses. Like, yeah, a lot of people who are progressive will be on Web 3, but then you have the businesses that have you ever been in a corporate world? They're fucking slow as shit to upgrade anything, because they think everything costs like $10 billion when everything costs like, some of the tools I use have cost me, like, all my tools combined, I probably spend about $1 on tools for studying podcasts, social influencing apps and stuff like that. Probably about 1,000 just on apps for that. But I have like over a dozen that I can use at any time to give me more information, move more traffic and stuff like that. So I have access to these tools, or automate my process. Like, I have Chatmatic as a chat bot. And if you go to my Feel Better page and you put hashtag podcast, you'll go through run through a sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just as simple as that. And I don't have to do it. Like I put it once and boom, I can get your email address. I can send you messages later saying, hey, I put you in as a broadcast. Like it costs me money. And I can also sell this service to my clients. And I can set up that sequence for them on their fan page so that they now don't have to worry about that. And I set something up with Zapier, and Zapier does all this integration. Like I have an email sequence. So I send out a form for my guests, and I believe there's the 80-20 principle. 80% of your success comes from 20% of your work, or 80% of your problems come from 20% of your clients, or something, whatever. So it's something like that. Yeah. Pretty much is, if you put 20% of your effort can result in 80% of your success. So I figured, look, I'm one person, but I learn really quickly. So I've from 2020, I burnt out in February of 2020, and for 2 months I didn't work. I just sat in my place, smoked a lot of weed, and just tried to heal a lot of trauma. But I was going to therapy as well. And I have to say, therapy is one of the most important things. Like, fuck what you think of therapy. Therapy is the safest place you can go. It's made me a better person. Like, people that I work with, they've seen me night and day. Like, they saw me like I was a miserable asshole before, and now they're like, holy shit, Phil, you're like, what's wrong with you? Like, what cocaine are you on all the time?
Cocaine will do that to you. It'll make you.
Cocaine will change you. But yeah, no. So I'm like more happy because of therapy. I've dealt with some issues. I still have issues like everybody, and I'm not ready to deal with those. My next level when I'm ready there. But I don't know where I was going.
Like hard amounts of cocaine, but no.
Yeah, hard amounts of cocaine just derailed me, like as it should.
Right.
No, yeah, okay. So I automate. The automation helps me because I'm one person. So, and I can't always be answering questions when someone sends me something. So with Chatmatic, I set up this sequence, and I do that for my clients as well. So when I send a guest form out, like let's say someone goes, hey, I want to be a guest on your show. I send them, I have an email sequence that goes, here you go. It sends them the link. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, everyone does need therapy. And because we're all fucked up. But so they get a link, it fills out a Google form. But all the questions is just in an admin form. It's not a lot of like hard things like what's your social media handles, your Twitter, your Facebook, what website do you offer anything as a service? Would you like to offer anything to my client, my podcasters, just to help them out? And then I have Zapier, which is you can have for free, which is like a super code without coding, that when it sees that a new row has been entered in the Google sheet, we'll pull forms, we'll pull the information, fill in the blanks of this template that I created, and create a new Google Doc. And I have my show notes. So and there's easy. Just like that, boom. Now, like that used to take me like 20-30 minutes a show, but now I have them done pre-show. So I go through it, obviously, because they're never like clients, guests don't put the proper things. So I go through, I do a little bit of editing. So my 20 minutes comes to 5 minutes,
right?
Which is like that's great. And so for my interview shows, boom, they're done. And so I know how I have nothing to worry about for my interview shows because I got Zapier handling that. Then I go, okay, I have a template for I'm slowly bringing in a template because I'm doing one thing at a time. You just build one thing at a time. Like I know how to do it. I do it for my clients, but I'm always slow doing it for myself because it's like my clients are more important than me. My stuff, I got my clients. So my podcast is at a level that people are like, wow, he's successful enough that I'm willing to pay him. And then I bring my client stuff more. Like early June, I was talking with one of my clients, and by that time, with the integration of the podcast, and we started the podcast in March. So in March, we started his podcast. By June, his funnel was already making 6 figures.
Wow.
And it was like that. And with the podcast integrated, it helps because what it's doing for him is it builds the trust between the audience and that, so they're more willing. And at the end of every episode, there's a call to action for what the listener needs to do, and that just reinforce. And they're like, well, he knows what he's talking about. Boom, we're going to do it. And we have plans to launch something probably in January of 2022. We're going to be launching a new podcast with him, but it's going to be a paid subscription. And he's like, this is what we worked out, a very great deal. I'm very ecstatic with it because he's super happy with how the podcast has been growing. Like, he's been getting interviews on some huge podcasts in the space, in the niche that he's in. Right. And that's just building up more. Like, we look at his Facebook, not his Facebook, but his Spotify, and we look, and then it's just like it's like a stock just going through the roof, and I'm loving it. And he's gaining like 2 to 3 followers every single day. Right. So it's just that small compounding interest over time, and that's how you do it. That's how you go big. You just you grow, and then all of a sudden you hit a point, and then the algorithm just takes you and you explode. Right. You know, but it's a slow grind. It's just, you just keep putting out the content, getting better and better, and he's been getting better, and we're moving in one direction, and that. But making money on a podcast is so easy. And this I know how I got all this. I know this thing. So it's roadmap. Yeah, I drew don't ask me for directions, Christ. But how I started 6 years ago. Saw the 2 booms just before Serial, and no one knew how to make money. But if you knew, or people were very secretive before Serial podcasting came along. And so they were like, we're not going to tell you how to grow. We're not, and it wasn't very friendly space. It was a very toxic space. So that happened. Serial boosts the thing, and you get a lot more hobbyists. And people are sharing a bit more, like, okay, you should be using this, and you should be using that mic. And I joined a few groups that were super small, made my name, and as it grew, I became known for something because I would share my advice. And then it grow. And then we had the Joe Rogan moment, which it took the Serial moment and 100 times it, because it exploded, because everybody heard Joe Rogan made $100 million to go exclusive, to Spotify. So everybody's like, well, if Joe Rogan can do it, I can do it. And they jumped on it and thinking like, oh, I'm just going to do exactly what Joe Rogan did, forgetting that Joe Rogan has been doing it for like 9 years, has over 20 years in the industry of entertainment, and has money to put into it.
I mean, this guy, he was on Fear Factor. I mean, he, like you said, he's a stand-up comedian. News radio, you know. Yeah, he's been on, like, this guy isn't some Joe that picked up a microphone.
He's grinded himself to get the following that he has. And that's all it is. He's just grinded his time out, and then he became that value. And then, you get other celebrities because, like, they know that they already have that following. Like, I know a few other celebrities and some podcasters are going exclusive to Spotify, because Spotify has the data and goes, okay, you have over 100 million listeners. We know that if we put you to exclusive to Spotify, there's a good chance we can get 2% of those other people to come over. And that just, boom, a chance for them to sell that $12.99 or whatever. Yeah, I have to agree. It was. Since then, he's kind of gone onto the line of a douchebag.
I would have to say that him destroying Carlos Mencia was the best thing that Joe Rogan ever did. And then Newsweek and News Radio.
Okay, yeah, fair. I'm not going to argue that. We both agree News Radio is one of his greatest things he's ever done. So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, like, they forget, like, celebrities have a built-in audience, so they're worth the investment. We don't have a built-in audience. We have to grind it out, and it will take you years unless you know the steps and what to do beforehand. And, like, I love answering questions in Facebook groups about podcasting, because it's like, yo, I got 6 years of hardship, stabbing, pain, broken arms, broken legs. I've been in battle with this stuff. Like, I was like guerrilla warfaring my way through this, like Rambo and stuff. And teaching people how to do it. And like, look, I will always have time for answering questions. I got a kid in high school messaging me asking because they want to do their final project. They want to do like a podcast as it, and like she wants to do in the form of like Oprah Winfrey, and I'm like, done, let's do it. Like I will I'm like, look, tell me if you need a guest, I will find you a guest. Like tell me what your guest you need. I have this wealth of connections. I would love to help you out. Like I want to help the people because I didn't have that support growing up. Or even going in the podcasting world, I didn't have that support. And I'm like, I want to bring people up. Like, screw the hardships. Like, let's get you monetized so that you don't worry about that. And so that you know, but you have to realize like it's a grind. It's if you're looking for money, business owners have already figured it out. Like you can do lead gen, you can run a business, you can like boom. You have to start thinking of your podcast as a business because it is. And this is exactly how so I've stopped. Oh, okay. Sorry. There's some people outside. I've stopped looking at social media as social media. And I look at it as the internet and podcasts as the new real world. I know Facebook it's so like this, like I was doing this way before, and I have friends that can say this was before I heard that Facebook was changing their parent company name to Meta, and because they get into the metaverse and all this. But unfortunately, this is how I've been thinking. So I look at Facebook as a mall.
Like that Chappelle Show episode?
Yes.
The internet?
Yeah. Seriously, like the internet's a highway. Websites are exits off. You have like Amazon as the Walmart or Sam's Club or, Costco for the internet because it has everything you goddamn need. You know, Facebook is a mall because you can find everything you need there. Like Facebook groups are the stores. You go into a Facebook group and you can be sold or buy something. And the Facebook page is just the storefront to see if you like the stuff that's being talked about on it.
But you also will have that annoying person spraying perfume on you every time you walk by.
You will have.
So you will have that.
You will have that annoyingness. Like there is the still annoying of getting the random person like, hey, I made a fifth. Like I get so many annoying people because I'm like admins on different groups and I'm like I'm always posting. I'm getting people like, hey, promote. Do you need someone for podcast promotion? Dude, like, did you not read anything on my this is the most annoying thing.
Yep.
Getting those podcast like people, if you're gonna reach out to me and want to sell me something, take 30 seconds to read over my profile to see if I meet your criteria.
Research your customer.
Yeah, first of all, just like as in podcasting, businesses have their ideal client. Podcasters have to have their ideal listener. If you say, "Oh, my podcast is for everybody," no one's going to listen to it because I don't want to listen to a podcast for everybody. I want to listen to a podcast that's made for me. Like I don't always listen. Like I'm subscribed to a lot of podcasts, but I don't always listen to the podcast because I go in and out of being the ideal listener for it. I used to listen heavily to a lot of movie podcasts like Kevin Smith's podcasts, the Weekly Planet, which is one of the biggest podcasts in Australia. And it's by this guy named Mr. Sunday Movies and his best friend Meso. They built a company. Like this is a guy that is on in my top 10 of people I want to interview for my digital entrepreneur podcast, because he literally went from being a teacher in rural Australia all the way to creating the largest independent podcast network in Australia, and pretty much like creating his own empire on YouTube and like building. It's amazing what his wife and his best friend did. Like it's insane. And I want to talk to him, but it's really weird because he's very secretive as well, but not secretive in a bad way. It's like, he doesn't have the patience to do interviews. But so it's like business people have figured out how to make money on internet. So you look at your podcast as a business, right? Right now we're streaming live through Facebook, YouTube, right? And Twitch, correct?
Twitch, yep.
Right? Those are now the new TV channels. So you have a TV show.
Damn right I do.
Right? You have a TV show. But on top of that, you release this on Apple as a podcast. So you now have a radio show, because
Yeah.
radio is now just podcast is now just radio on demand.
Yep. Spotify, all that stuff. You can just
Spotify,
click on whatever you want to
yeah,
listen to and it's
you
there.
can, and you don't never have to you listen to the annoying ads if you don't have Spotify Premium, but that's what podcasts are. It's radio on demand. So right now, Dad, you have a TV show and a radio show. You're now a media empire.
And I have multiple TV shows and radio shows. So now I am
Yeah,
a megapire.
you are a media empire because you have multiple shows. You produce multiple shows. You're now like you have to now think. I have my podcast is my business. What do you sell? You sell your merch, and you sell entertainment. So you have to think of your ideal listener and your ideal customer. They're the same person sometimes for some, but that's what businesses do. Businesses have the ideal customer. Who am I looking to sell to? That's my ideal listener. For independent podcaster, who is my ideal listener? Like, who do I want to listen to my podcast? For my digital entrepreneur podcast, I want people who are still questioning whether or not it's possible to make money online. That's when I have the digital entrepreneur podcast.
Totally possible. Totally
It is.
possible.
And I have interviewed over 100 people who have made millions, and I'm pretty sure I'm closing in on the billions, or probably $100 million mark or more, with the people I've interviewed on the digital entrepreneur podcast. And like, I want people to listen to that and be like, holy shit, like I can do this. Or they can listen to one and go, okay, I want to learn a bit more about this and dive in. Cause I'm like, I want my people who come on to be just as successful because they're allowing me time to interview them. Then I have the Invest in Yourself, the podcast series. Who is that? Someone who's podcasting that wants to grow their podcast, and also it's used for people who want to hear about new podcasts. So I get podcasters on and talk about their show. We go, okay, how do you grow your show? This and that, or what successes or what some ease you have found. And then I pepper it through with lessons that I've learned and I'm sharing that I do on my live show on my Facebook profile that should be going on YouTube and all that, but I just don't have the time. I'm a one-man band. I'm only so amazing. Then I have the Feel Better show. To be honest, you guys, Real Boys Excel has become the main reason I keep Facebook. Convenience. I violate my own ethics for your content. Nick, that is something that I am thankful. You do realize, well, yeah, you're on Facebook because of the Real Boys, and then you're talking here. But it is true. Thank you very much, Nick. That is what I love the most. Getting that, because there's so many people telling you how to monetize your fans. Like it technically you only need 100 fans to monetize, right? Because if all of them pay you $10, that's you have $1,000. Boom. You can live on. Most people can live off $1,000, right? But you can take that $1,000 and reinvest it in your equipment, in your like paying ads to get more people to listen. I did an interview with my buddy Turner, who I'm doing a podcast with, Turner Coates of Give Me the Loot podcast, an amazing D&D podcast that is just phenomenal. They just did this charity event that was with other D&D podcasters to do a live player versus player battle. Nice. So it was amazing. Yeah, it was so phenomenal. And he's been interviewed by Conan O'Brien as well. Right? I'm like, holy shit. I'm in fangirl mode all the time when I talk with Turner. But I did an interview with him on the podcast series about how he paid to have his podcast ad played on another podcast that is in the similar niche as him. It ended up doubling his Patreon money.
Wow.
And his listenership went on. He just put in double the amount this time. He bought more ad space on different podcasts, I believe. And he sent me some of the numbers, and it's like, holy shit. And he's planning to give me some more. But it's like you think about getting that $1,000, what you can do with that. You can get ad spend. You can go out to find 10 other podcasts and go, look, I'm going to give you $10 to play my ad. Boom. You have now $1,000 on other podcasts. You give them a specific link so that they can come listen. So let's say you own Oops Caught Me Smoking store, or you have Oops Caught Me Smoking, right? Podcast.com/ the Cloud Chronicle podcast, and so you say, click this link or go visit this site, right? You can see with Google Analytics and Facebook Pixel, right? These are tools you need to have installed on your website. You can get tracking information and seeing which ad or which podcast is bringing in more people. So you're like, okay, I can then take some future revenue and double down on that podcast and get even more, or bring that podcaster on your show to bump up again. And just think about, like, if you get 1% from another podcast, that's still an extra percentage added to you. And then even if a percent of that decide, hey, I want to purchase your merch, you're still making money. And you made some money. So you have to look at what businesses are doing and how they're making money and go, okay, how can I do the same? They always reinvest their profit. You pay yourself first if you can, or just take that money. Like, if it's not like extra money for you, like you have your main job and you have your podcast and your podcast pays you, you can take that money and go, I can put it towards a vacation because it's extra money that I just created, or I can reinvest it in my podcast. And that's what you should be doing. You should be either putting it aside, investing it so that you can make a third stream of income. And that's what Lloyd Ross, my millionaire money mentor, suggests in his book, Money Grows on Trees, and also on his podcast. Your main hustle is your day-to-day job, right? Your 9 to 5. Then your side hustle should be funding your third funnel, which is an investing.
Right.
So you just invest it, and so your main job takes care of all your bills. Your side hustle creates the money that goes into your investing portfolio, and that investment portfolio over time will just grow. If you're like, and who has time to day trade? Like, I don't have no patience to day trade. I'm going to go trade. Okay, like, what is Warren Buffett? Like, Warren Buffett is one of the richest men in the world because of his stock. What does he own? Can I buy fractional shares? So you can buy fractional shares now. So I can buy Berkshire Hathaway, and I'm not paying $10 million, but I'm buying, it at, I'm for $100. I'm getting a fractional share of $100. I'm buying that. And that's what we talk about on my third podcast, the Stock Dirty to Me podcast, which goes live to a group of nearly 50,000 members strong.
Damn.
Yeah, we go live every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about either the major news of the week. So we did just do an episode that's releasing this Wednesday on our feed about Donald Trump's new IPO that just launched for Truth Network. So we talked about that and what that means and what's going on and what's a SPAC and that, because that's something important. We talked about what was going on with a coin and another ETF. I can't remember, but we usually vote whichever one I can buy. If I can buy a fraction, so what A is voting rights and B is no voting rights. If I'm not, I think that's how it works. I have to do a little deeper. Look, I'm not 100% on stocks, and that's why you should join the beginner group. And we're actually going to be breaking the group up into 2 different groups because we have so many people who are more advanced in their knowledge of investing, and some are asking like, what are limits and what are limit orders and all these other things that I'm like, oh my god, I know nothing. Like, I only knew about buy low, sell high. That's my knowledge. And I've been lucky enough, like, because I interviewed one of the co-hosts on my podcast coming out later about his podcast, The Stock Bros. It's Tony. I can't pronounce his last. I'm horrible at pronouncing last names.
Some of them are very hard.
As you know, I can't even pronounce your last name when we're not even on air. God, I feel horrible. But yeah, Tony,
it happens a lot.
So, and what's really funny is like, okay, Better's technically not my last name. It's my stage name due to reasons that I've talked about. But I have a French last name, and I'm so used to people screwing up my French last name. That's why one of the reasons why I have an English last name now, Better. But so I had him on my show, and he saw how professional it was, and he's like, hey, can you help me with my group? I started admitting with his group and making it easier. And he's like, he was part of this bigger group, Stock Market for Beginners. And he's like, hey, bring you on. And then I'm like, hey, we should do a daily show or a podcast that's going to help engagement in the group and grow the group better. And boom, like at the same time that we launched the show. So I get that kiss me. I spent 4 years as an active alcoholic at Finch Ratings, following that now. Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, so we at the same time that was going on, we were growing so rapidly. Bazinga or something like that, an online kind of finance website, wanted to do that has like the writer gets like over 100,000 views on all his articles, and
Mhm.
wanted to do an interview with Tony. So he's doing the interview, talking about the podcast that we're doing, the live show at the time, and so our membership just exploded at that time. The show does amazing, and we get a lot of interaction, and we get all the group funnels us what they want us to talk about, because we can talk about anything. Like we have Dalt, Tony, and myself, and Tony has a degree in economics. Dalt is a licensed advisor, so he's legally allowed to give advice, but we don't give any advice. Like we're not going to tell you this is a stock you should buy, buy this stock. We go, the group votes on a stock, we look at it, we break it down. Okay, this is the price points, this is some of the concerns I have with the stock, this is some of the concern, these are some of the pros of the stock. Would I add it to my portfolio? No. Would I put it in my client's portfolio? No or yes. Like that's some of the stuff that we go, we're not telling you to buy, we're not telling you to sell. That's not our thing. How we look at it as investors, like would I invest or not? I'm coming in as like the everyday person that knows nothing. Tony has an amazing portfolio that he's openly shared on the show, and you can listen to his podcast Stock Bros to know his knowledge there. And then we have Dalt, who's licensed. So like these guys have the knowledge, and I'm just like, look, I'm gonna ask questions, I'm gonna handle this, I'm gonna let them do all the talking because I know nothing. And I jump in and I answer questions because being in the group, like I'm in a mastermind of stock investors, right? And they're just talking about stocks, or we're talking about this, and I'm like just downloading the information. So I'm going into other groups and I see someone talking, or in our group, and I answer, I'm like, no, this is what you should do, or check out Dalt, or I tag Dalt or something like that. And so like that's the show. So like it's for people who haven't started investing, that just wants a bit more knowledge. Like we're not teaching you anything, but we're like, look, this is why you shouldn't look at these meme stocks. Like we were hardcore against the meme stocks, and the altcoins and all that. We still are, but Tony has softened. He's like, fuck it. Since shit doesn't mean anything anymore, like balance sheets apparently mean nothing because Tesla's trading at a ridiculous amount. Like common sense is just whipped out the window. When it comes to investing. So he's put his money in, he's put some money in altcoins. He's like, hey, it's money that I can burn. Like this is not money I'm risking. I have this money just sitting doing nothing. I might as well try and buy some altcoins. But he's very venomous against altcoins because he just thinks they're mostly pump and dump schemes, which is true. If you look at it, 90% of these coins, I want to know why Evergrande international interest payments are supposedly sitting in escrow. I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. Join stock market for beginners and ask that question, and I'll fast track your membership. Send me a DM.
Breaking news here on Oops Got Me Smoking.
Yeah, like, I have no idea. Nick, if you want an invite to the group, send me a DM and I'll get you there right away. And then you can ask that question to a lot more knowledgeable people, because there is a lot of great people in the group. There's a lot of meme people as well, but we can't stop everybody. Like you have the right to invest the way you want. Like some are day traders, some aren't. Some people think they're a day trader and know nothing, and they try day trading. So it's you can find it in the group, but this one lady, she didn't know what F meant in comments.
Okay.
And for those
who don't know,
no, I don't, because I don't want to spoil it, because it's kind of like it pounds in. Also, there is a stock that its ticker is an F, and it's Ford.
Okay.
This lady thought when anybody was putting F in the comments, it was to talk about buying Ford. And it stands for follow. Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Lady.
I was like, oh God, woman. And like it's not fair to make.
How much did she buy? That's all I want to know. How much did she buy?
Oh, God, I don't want to know. Like some of the things, like we stop a lot of the posts because it's like, no, this is not useful to the group. But we don't censor a lot. We allow a lot to go through because we're not going to censor what you want, what the group wants to talk about. We
Mhm.
promotion to other groups, telegram links, anything that leads you off our group, we're not going to let you. You're not the mod. One of the things the mods do, we're not getting paid for this. This is free content. I'm
Mhm.
trying to monetize it, but it's hard because it's hard to monetize. Like, I do have affiliate links in it for the guys so that people can click and get, like, if they listen to it, they can go to Adult's blog, add his, go to his blog, and then can maybe become a client. Tony has his Public's link, where Public is a platform you can trade on.
Mhm.
And he has a Udemy course about investing that I got for you and your kids. I believe I sent it to you. I don't know if you took it, but
Oh, I probably have it.
yeah, you have it. But yeah, it's a course about like proper investing, like understanding the
Okay.
basics of investing so that you, and it's like less than $20, I think. Dogs have dirty mouths. It's part of it. um, yeah, so like it can teach you how to properly start investing so that you can start building a portfolio that's going to make you money over time. Like, a lot of people forget that it's a grind
Uh-huh.
investing because you don't have them. Like, if I had $1 million and invested it, I would make $1 million like that. Like, that's how easy it is. Like, once, if you have $1 million, making a second million is really easy.
Mhm.
It's making your first million that is super hard. 'Cause
That's what
once you make,
sucks.
yeah, but it's so, if you do proper investing, like Lloyd is a millionaire investor. He has a portfolio worth over $1 million, and he did it by just grinding it out, by
Wow.
investing money all the time and reinvesting the interest. Like, anything he's gained, he reinvested, and he just let that work for him. He had his main hustle, which was he was like a real estate lawyer, I think. Like, Lloyd is Lloyd is an incredibly smart guy. Like, if you read his profile, I don't want to talk him up too much, but if you go on and he shares all his knowledge in his book, Money Grows on Trees, again, just go to lloydjross.com and
Mhm.
get his book. It's $7 and it will teach you so much. But it teaches you how he pretty much drove the same cheap ass car, drove it into the ground about 4 times. He rented it. He never bought, he rented or like leased it, lived with like 4 other guys, lived so cheaply below his means because he was investing in his side hustle, which
Okay.
was his network marketing, which he was using to grow, and then he used the profits from that to invest. Like, he was investing his money that he was saving from living with 4 guys, keeping his costs small, to invest into his investments, his stock
Mhm.
market, his portfolio, and the money he was making from his network marketing, he was investing as well. So it's just like a constant funnel that just grew. Now he has a stock portfolio over $1 million, and he's around our age, you know, and
Wow.
he just celebrated his his network marketing is over $1 million now. He just got that celebration a couple of weeks ago. He just made his second million within a few weeks ago, like, apart.
And just let everyone know out there, this isn't just like him like busting his back, and it is at some point, but this is him just investing and being
Yeah,
smart and doing his homework. And this
yeah,
is how he made his $1 million.
yeah. He
And
was like, he has $1 million investment portfolio that he literally was like, okay, I'm buying this and I'm just going to keep putting money into this stock because this is a great stock. Then he's like, okay, he looked at what Berkshire, like Warren Buffett was doing, Charlie Munger was doing, and he's like, okay, this is the style, and I'm looking for stocks for me that are cheap enough that I can buy that
Mhm.
have these same principles. And he just clack, and now he's like I said, $1 million investor. He teaches you how to do it. He teaches you how to take your side hustle to fund have the 3 pillars. And so it's going. It's like, it's a modern day Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like Rich Dad,
Mhm.
Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. He was doing it with real estate, and like getting into real estate is super hard now because of so many successes from that. So
Right.
he did with network marketing, and he shows you, like, you don't have to do it network marketing. It's your side hustle. Like, do it podcasting, garage. Like, look at, if you watch Gary V, who is like the king of side hustling knowledge base. He still garage hunts
Mm-hmm.
and he makes bank. Like he
Love
goes,
Gary Vee.
I watched one of his trash talk videos, how he got like 2 boxes for $15 of Matchbox collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
One car that he looked up was $300. Like this is what people
Just
don't
one car out of 2 boxes worth.
Yeah. And
Just
he's done
imagine what the other ones are worth.
right. This is what people don't understand. You need to like, what do you want to sacrifice now to have the success that you're looking for? And that's what it is. It's a mind shift. You have to be like, look, I have to delay my instant gratification. And I'm going to be sounding like preaching right now. And it's not, it is a problem. And I've been fighting it for the longest, but this, having constant notification, getting all that like instantly, our instant gratification is so high that we want to be successful today, but we don't want to put in the work because it's like, no, but I can get like a million things on my phone in 20 seconds. Why can't I have this? But it's not. All the people who are rich, they put in the hustle, they put in the grind early to be where they are today. But because of the internet, you can do it quicker and faster. All you have to do is make sure you follow the right mentors and understand like, hey, I have to put my satisfaction. When you get money, you have extra money, invest it, put it in the real estate, put it in stocks, you know, because that will help you build, and don't touch it. Just hold off. And then look, at one point you're going to be like, my portfolio is worth so much more, I'm not going to touch it. And then you get stocks that pay you dividends. And like when you retire, your dividends are paying you. Dividends is money the company is paying you because you invested with them. You get a share of the profits. Now, I don't say go straight into companies that give high dividends, because that's not good, because then it's like, okay, but what are you using the money to bring your business up, investing in the business? So you have to look at the positive and the negative. And like when we're young, we don't need that extra like we don't need a high yield dividend stock, because we can do that later on in our life when that may be more necessary. Right now we want to build up that wealth and have our companies build the wealth. And then you have your side hustle that's you can make it automated. There's so many ways with like affiliate marketing, oh my God. If you can find a great, like you have VS, right? That's your the CBDE or CBDevious.
CBDevious.com. Yeah, it's a podcast that ranked my podcast in the top 20.
Nice. That's great.
2 categories, actually.
Nice. But you're also, you have an affiliate link, don't you?
We are partnering with, we are in talks with partnering with someone right now. I was going to give it away at the end, but we can do it right now.
No. Shit.
Well, you can't really see it, but it's Chill Frog CBD. I gotta fix the logo, but it's Chill Frog CBD. We do have a promo code coming out soon, so people can get 30% off of your order. So
there we go.
Coming up in the world.
But what's also great, like that's a great affiliate product for you, because you you can always ask, like for every like a 1% off every sale can come back to you. So if someone spends $100, you're getting like 1% of that. Yeah, it's $1.
It's $1, but still, it's money.
That's $1.
It's a start.
It's a start. But there's some affiliate programs that pay you monthly. Like I have one for the Phil Better Show, my first podcast, my narcissistic podcast. I have for NordVPN, and NordVPN is an amazing VPN that allows you to pretty much protect yourself online, so you can't be tracked. And they don't track you. They don't want to track you. They want to protect you. And secretly, I use it to watch Netflix from other countries. Or like I can't get the WWE network, and I'm a wrestling fan. I can't get the WWE network without subscribing to a cable package, and I don't want to subscribe to a cable package because
this seems stupid.
Right. So all I have to do is use NordVPN, put my VPN in, put myself in the US, and I can sign up just like that without doing it. And I can watch, all the pay-per-views without paying for it, and yada, yada, yada. So like I have that, and people buy it and they pay monthly, or they buy a yearly subscription or whatever they want, and Nord pays me monthly every month. So if 1 month I get one person, but then every month I get one new person, at the end of the month I have 12 people signed up using my NordVPN link, right? And if all of them are if Nord values them like, okay, every person you bring us, you'll get $10. I now have 12 people. That's $120 in that 1 month, in that 1 year I've just made. Or I made
a VPN.
Off of VPN. And then next year I get I start with 12. So my first month I'm making 120. I add a new person. Now I'm making 130, 140, 150, 160. Boom, boom, boom. And it just keeps, and I take that money and I reinvest it in my business, doing ads or getting new equipment, or paying to get guests on. Because why not pay to get like some of the bigger guests on? Like I had one of the amazing guys I had on was Travis Chappell. I know we're coming to the end here, and I'm really sorry I've talked like nonstop, and you've asked
it's all good,
questions.
bro. It's a lot of good information.
I know. I'm just like, throw as much as I can. Maybe something's going to help them. But I interviewed Travis Chappell, and he created a networking podcast, and how he used networking to get some amazing. He just interviewed Shaq.
I saw that. I watched that too. It was a great interview.
Holy shit! This guy's interviewed some amazing, like Grant Cardone. I don't think he's interviewed Gary Vee yet, but like he's interviewed some huge name, Les Brown, Tim Ferriss, Pat Flynn, all these amazing guys. And by the way, you should be reading Tim Ferriss. You should be connected with Pat Flynn, because these guys have built podcasting. John Lee Dumas as well. But Travis also created Guestio, which is an amazing platform for podcasters, especially if you're interviewed and you need specific types of guests. You can leverage the paying, like you can get Les Brown on your podcast. And if you don't know who Les Brown is, he's this motivational genius. Highly suggest you get it. You check out Les Brown, but you can pay to have Les Brown on your podcast and interview Les Brown on your show for like $5,000. Like, it's a lot of money.
That seems to be the going rate for like I want to say a great guest.
A top tier guy that has a following that you can use to, like, you may not be able to get all of Les Brown listeners, but you'll get the fringes. And think about it. If Les Brown has 10 million followers and you get 1% of that 10 million, I ain't mad, bro.
Give me 1% of that 10 million and I'm happy.
Right? But then you get those people coming to your podcast, and you talk about your merch, or you talk about your affiliate link, or you have them go to they're like, oh, I like this. They share it with a friend. And then they're like, that's a great episode. Shaq is insanely smart. Oh, he's fucking him, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. Like, these guys are genius.
Yes.
And like, they're smart because they delay their instant gratification, because they put in the work to be. They weren't. Michael Jordan wasn't born Michael Jordan.
Right.
He fucking busted his chops, just like LeBron, just like Kobe, just like I think it's Stephen Curry.
Stephen Curry. Yeah, man.
Stephen Curry. Sorry, I was like Stephen White. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not that. They're close, but it's not. They put in the hustle to get to where they were. Just like if you look at like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, you may hate him. And like, I cannot stand the Paul brothers. However, I admire the fuck out of what they do.
Yes.
They went from nowhere to now boxing Floyd Mayweather. A nobody not even 10 years ago is boxing the greatest boxer of all time.
Which, just FYI, everyone, Logan Paul did get knocked out in the 4th round by Floyd Mayweather. He just
got carried. Oh yeah. He got carried. Look, you're going against a guy who's been boxing like Lloyd's. How long has Floyd been doing it? Like 20 years.
About as long as Logan Paul's been alive.
Yeah, pretty much. So. You have this guy who can like his hand is pure lightning. Like I'm pretty sure like the only person. Like, he would never be able to fight against Muhammad Ali because of the weight class difference. Like, he wouldn't stand a chance. Ali would outbox him,
destroy him.
would destroy him. But and I'm not saying that because I'm an Ali fan. Even Mike Tyson said Ali in his prime would whoop him because Ali was the greatest of all time. He is the GOAT of GOATs. Just like anybody wants to argue LeBron, Kobe, Curry, or Jordan. Jordan is the GOAT of GOATs when it comes to basketball. When it comes to hockey, it's a little harder because like you have Wayne Gretzky who has so many, like you take away his scores, he still has more points than anybody else. Just thanks for his things. Like he's a GOAT of GOAT, but I'm a Montreal Canadiens diehard. Like I born and bred in Montreal. And so like I look at our dynasty, we have Maurice Rocket Richard, Jean Beliveau, the Gentleman. We have Harry Morez. We have people who are named, like trophies are named after our players. And it's hard to be like Maurice Rocket Richard was the first player to ever score like 50 goals in one season. Like the first, like how is that not a GOAT of a GOAT? Like, and if you watched like in Canada, we have these like heritage moments. We had these heritage moments because we're not very boastful about ourselves. It's a Canadian thing. We're very humble, but we have done a lot of crazy shit. Like there was an advance, like, oh Christ, I'm jumping all over the place. This is my problem being a Canadian. I want to boast about how awesome Canadians are. But anyways, we have these heritage moments and it's just great moments in Canadian history. And one of them is about how Maurice Rocket Richard, and because hockey players were paid shit. I try to assume when I see someone really successful that they're very, very busy and focused because that's reality. Yes and no. That's why they charge so much time of their money. Most people don't. People have teams. Once you get to a level of success, you start building your teams out, and that's how you scale so quickly. Like that's how Gary Vee got to be Gary Vee and will own the Jets. Gary Vee, I will say, before he dies, will own the New York Jets just because of that hustle and ambition that he has. He knows how to build teams.
I hope he does something with that team because they are terrible this year.
Look at what the Habs are doing. Like, come on. Anyways, but where was I going? Habs.
Yep, train of thought is gone. But that's okay because we're
done.
Though.
Yeah. If you want more, just come visit my website, book 15 minutes with me at philbetterinc.com. I'll be more than happy to help you out. You can follow me on on Instagram at podcaster Phil Better. There you go. Now you can do your ending.
That's right. That's right. And all his links are in the description below. So if you want to go follow Phil Better, go ahead and do so. Does anyone really want to own the Jets? The answer to that question is no, Nick. The answer to that question is no. Just like the Lions. No one wants to own the Lions. That's why the Ford family running into the ground.
Wait, hold on. I would love to own a sports team. And
if
someone came to me and goes, hey, do you want to buy the New York Jets? I know zero about football. Like football is not my jam. I'm hockey. And hockey, like that's my jam. I'm a hockey boy, right? I'll watch football. I love watching football. Like Notre Dame's my college game. I don't really have an NFL team. I float from the Raiders. Like I have an affinity to the Raiders, specifically the Oakland Raiders, because one of my boys when I was younger, growing up, my homeboy Tony, Coach Tony on Instagram, go follow him. He's my boy. He's a diehard Raiders fan, and I used to go over and watch the Super Bowl with him. And he had a replica Raiders Hall of Fame ring or World Series ring that he got when he went to Oakland to watch a game with a couple of boys, and one of the Oakland Raiders fans were so impressed that a Montrealer boy was there that he gave him the ring. That he had spent his money on. So like we would go there and to watch the game, regardless of what team you cheered for, you had to kiss the ring. And he had one of his boys, my boy Cozy. He's a hardcore Cowboys fan. So he had to kiss the ring. He hated it all the time, but it was so fun to watch. So I do have an affinity for the Raiders, but NFL is not my thing. But someone says, here's the New York Jets. I'll be like, yes. And then what I would do is go find the people who know how to do shit better than me and just make sure they're in my place. That's all it is. Like there's a great story about Henry Ford and being questioned about his competence. I highly suggest you guys look it up and just understand that's how rich people think. It's so important. I want to say it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to give you guys too much.
Go read it.
If you want success, you have to go out and find success and you have to work for it. So if you want to hear more about that story, go fucking look at Henry Ford when he gets grilled about success and that, and you can find it. Henry Ford on success, law, and like use Google to find it. And, you'll love it because it's an amazing story. Go ahead, Dan.
Too excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I just love talking, and I'm exhausted. And Jesus,
right? But yeah, I do want to stop you and say thank you
do.
for coming on to the show and spending an hour of your time with me and giving all these people some lovely advice about stock investing and podcast. Getting your podcast up.
Apparently, I'm everything now.
Yeah. You're all over the place today, but it's okay. Now, excuse me. Now, before we go here real quick, guys, I do want to thank Nick Malati and Tony Tukes over on YouTube for all of the comments. I appreciate you guys commenting. It helps out the channel very much. And everyone out there like watching right now, go ahead and make your way over to YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel, and check out my beautiful weed footage. If you want to know what I'm smoking on, there it is. I'm over on YouTube. And also, while you're searching the web, check out oopscaughtmesmokingstore.com. That way you can get some shirts. $15 get you a t-shirt, $35 for a hoodie, and $47 for a backpack. Yes, I have backpacks now. That's amazing. And every Thursday night at 9 p.m., Bet That with Dan and Jerry, we're the best sports talk show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And, of course, the Real Boys every Monday night at 8 p.m. and every other Friday at 9 or whenever we decide to go on. That's kind of how it is right now.
Mondays are for sure. Mondays 100%.
Yes. Mondays are 100%. And before I got to pitch this, Indie Pods United 2021 coming up. You can check your boy out on Friday, December 3rd at 7 p.m. Oops, Caught Me Smoking. I'm going to try to have a special guest for you. I have a couple that I'm talking to. Nothing is for certain yet, but it will happen.
People should buy that because I will be doing an actual paid room on monetizing your podcast. So if you can't make it to the one on the 27th with Average Joe and me, my boy Mike, I forgot his name, Mike.
My buddy. Shit.
Yeah, it's Mike. It's Mike. Mike with a hard last name. That make sure you go to the Indie Pods. There's going to be so much, and you just buy the tickets, and it's so worth it because there's so much amazing people. So yeah, go visit Indie Pods, the summit. It's an amazing event. Yeah,
I was with the one last year. It was an amazing, and it was a great time. You meet so many people. If you're your first year partaking in this summit, you're about to meet some people that are going to help you out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've been to the point where I just didn't want to podcast anymore, and then I get people blowing me up saying, "What is this here? What is this I hear? Don't you think about quitting?"
Yeah, and I'm like, "What do you need? What help do you need to make sure you stay?" And you asked, and I said, "Do this," and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Yep, and it happens. It takes time. Podcasting is an investment, not a get-rich scheme. So everyone out there, thank you for watching. Like I said, go over to YouTube, like, subscribe. We need help over there. And thank you, Phil, for coming on.
It was a blessing, and thank you so much for giving me the chance to download some knowledge into the universe.
It's all right here. Hope everyone brought a pencil and paper.
If not, re-listen to the episode and write out the notes.
Exactly. Go get some and then replay.
On YouTube.
Right. On YouTube, that's right. And like, subscribe if I haven't said that already. Love you guys. Stay up.
Scene one, Apple, take one.
What time is it?
You want to get high?
That's right.